Well, friends, I think modern life is a bit like purgatory. I think our modern culture is a bit like purgatory. Let me explain. I actually have a story that's related to this. It's in this book right here, Afterglow Generation Y. It's the final story. It's called Middlebury. Middlebury is inspired by Fresno, California, and especially Barstow, California, Bakersfield, California. These kind of towns that aren't really anywhere special. And I kind of liken them to a layer of purgatory, to an experience of purgatory, an experience of being maybe in Abraham's bosom, of waiting to get out, right? Modern life's like purgatory because all of my attachments to the things that I like are being slowly burned away from me, painfully in some cases. Because there's new Lord of the Rings movies, and one of them is going to be written by Stephen Colbert of the Colbert Report, the guy who is got a severe case of TDS after realizing that trying to make fun of conservatives by being a caricature of them only made them laugh because they have a sense of humor, is going to be writing one of two new Lord of the Rings movies possibly here. So they're going to have one that's called The Hunt for Gollum. Now, The Hunt for Gollum is a terrible idea, and I can really tell you why, is that Tolkien decided to sum it up in like 3 pages at the Council of Elrond. So why did he not write like a huge chapter of Aragorn hunting down Gollum and have just Aragorn and Gandalf kind of sum it up? Well, the reason is because that's not where the story tension is. The story tension is in our protagonists actually moving towards their goal of destroying the Ring of Power in Mount Doom, right? It's just a little bit of backstory, right? It's info dump. It's an info dump thing, not like its own story. So turning it into a movie that has significant tension, and especially an interquel, right? Like not even a prequel, like an interquel, something that takes place between, where we know one of the main outcomes, and you can figure out what the plot would be by reading 3 pages of Lord of the Rings. It's a terrible idea, but a much worse idea is to have Stephen Colbert write anything having to do with Lord of the Rings. He's going to write one that's called Shadow of the Past. Now that is a working title, but that's also the name of a chapter, one of the earliest written chapters in Lord of the Rings. Which is Gandalf and Frodo talking by his fireside, and Gandalf is giving him the story of the ring, and they prove that it's the one ring. So it's the setup for the rest of the conflict that happens in the story. It's like the second chapter of the book. So that would be weird. Read this synopsis, and you guys tell me what you think of it. 14 years after the passing of Frodo. It makes it sound like he died. He took a ship. He left. He sailed away with Galadriel and Bilbo. Sam, Merry, and Pippin set out to retrace the first steps of their adventure. Why? Meanwhile, Sam's daughter, Eleanor, has discovered a long-buried secret and is determined to uncover why the War of the Ring was very nearly lost before it even began. Oh, great, we're going to have a girl boss. We can't make a sequel without a girl boss. We're going to have a girl boss hobbit. Now, I want to ask you guys, what do you guys think the over-under is that they'll actually cast an attractive actress to play Eleanor? You think that that's likely or unlikely? Or will she somehow be a different race from Sam? What do you guys think? What do you think they're going to do there? Eleanor with the golden hair, who is like the most fair hobbit ever. What do you think? Are they going to cast a dumpy fat girl? If it ever gets shot. I mean, I just can't see people throwing $100 million or maybe $200 million. I don't even know how big movie budgets are these days. Throwing $200 million at a Stephen Colbert pinned Lord of the Rings sequel where they walk around the Shire and think about how the quest was nearly lost before it even began. Like, that sounds like there's just no story there. Tolkien reportedly kind of began a sequel to Lord of the Rings and realized there just wasn't much story there. Like, the ending was so complete, like everything was wrapped up in such a way. It was the end of the Age of the Elves in his kind of mythological view of what he wrote. what else is there to do? You know? Well, what we're doing here is we're trying to monetize the goodwill of movies that were actually good. Hollywood has a long track record of doing this. I've talked it before. We're in the milking phase, and in the milking phase, you're trying to get the milk out of the cow. That's the point of the milking phase, is you have fans, they are the cattle, and you're going to milk them by producing a bunch of crap that they're going to buy because they remember the stuff that was good. Every franchise has this cycle until it dies, and then they're going to reboot it. So after all this kind of stuff happens, then it might be fallow for a little while, but they'll just do a reboot. They'd be like, we're going to remake Lord of the Rings as an HBO series, like Game of the Thrones style series, and they'll make it so much worse than the harshest critics of the movies can even imagine. That's the way that it's going to work for us, okay? So I compare this to purgatory because, right, like I shouldn't have attachments to fiction. I shouldn't care so much about Tolkien's work because nothing can destroy it, right? He created it. It's his. It is what it is. It's forever immutable as what he made. But it still is offensive to me that people can, through legal contracts, gain the rights to desecrate the creative work of a person, like a person's life, heart work. They can just like crap all over it because they've drawn up contracts to do that. You know, it's just you have to be able to divorce yourself from caring about that. It's like you have to be purged of that. Now, some people said, I said this on Twitter, people are like, no, it's hell. I'm like, hell is like you're being punished. This is more like the punishment exists if you choose for it to be right. It's like, it's not pleasant to have that attachment removed from you, but it's necessary to move on. It's the same thing with Star Wars, right? It's you're being purged of your unhealthy attachment to Star Wars. Now I'm going to be purged of my unhealthy attachment to my favorite fantasy books growing up. I'm going to be purged of my attachment to them. I'm going to be purged of my attachment to the movies, right? Those things which hold you back from seeing the Lord will be purged of those right here. You know, we don't have to wait. We're experiencing it right now. And I guess that's my thoughts on the subject. I would love to know what you guys think about the idea of these sequels. I feel like they're just really like scraping the bottom of the barrel trying to find stories. And someone asked, like, why don't they do the Silmarillion? It's because the rights for that are separate. They're separate rights to them. They still have the rights to the stuff that's in the books, and they can maybe do some derivative stuff from that, but they can't do the Silmarillion because that's a separate set of rights that they could do. And it's like, why don't they do the Silmarillion? I don't want them to do anything. I want them to not do the Silmarillion because they will destroy it. You know, we're not in a time and a place where there's people with enough artistic integrity to do the Silmarillion any kind of justice. But yeah, I would love to have your opinions on it. It's like they made that Gollum game, the awful Gollum game, which I never played, but apparently was bad. That's it. It's milking. It's like, we'll just make a Gollum game and people will buy it because it's Lord of the Rings. We'll make a Tales of the Shire game that's just like really bad mini games with a bad kind of cel-shaded look to it. And people will buy it because it's Lord of the Rings, right? That's all milking kind of stuff. That's all milking stuff. But yeah, leave me your thoughts down below. I'd love to know what they are. Stephen Colbert. I would not think of him as a person that I would ever choose to adapt a major fantasy work. And it's not like writers are expensive. Writers are like the cheapest thing in Hollywood. I just can't understand what they're thinking here other than we can do whatever we want and people will buy it anyway because we can abuse our cattle and they can't really say no. They'll keep coming back to the trough, which just means they don't have any respect for you. So part of that process, lose that attachment. Don't worry about the fact that they are doing this because you have respect for yourself. The main reason why you don't give money to people who hate you is for you. Okay, so don't forget that. And I'll see you all next time. Have a great day.